6 p.m. on my computer clock. So we'll call the order, and it says adjustment to agenda. I don't know anything about an adjustment to the agenda.
Does anybody have any adjustments that they want to make to the agenda today?
Okay, then we will move down to approval of the last minutes. Does anybody have any changes, or do I have any motions to approve the last minutes as they were presented?
Well, we don't have a quorum yet, although Kaz is coming in right now, so we will shortly have a quorum as soon as she's hooked up. Hi, Kaz.
Hello.
Hi. We're just on the agenda down to where I was asking if anyone wanted to move to approve the minutes from our last meeting, and we needed a quorum, and you make a quorum.
Yay!
So do I hear a motion from anyone, or any changes, or anyone want to move to adopt the minutes? No?
I put the motion to approve the minutes as they are.
Okay, do I have a second?
Shelley or Donna? Do you want to second that?
I second. I
Thank
second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, unanimously approved by the quorum. I don't see anybody going no in there. Okay, we're at citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments today? Anybody checked in?
I received none.
All right. So I guess we're up to the heart of the matter today, which is item 5 on the agenda, the 2020 Senior Advisory Board, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Maya, I'm going to ask you to take this, or Kristen, whichever one of you handles this part of this meeting.
Sure, I think it's going to be a team effort here. But for those of you that were able to attend the end of year meeting last year in December, before we started meeting officially as a group, we invited you to join us for a meeting of all the boards to go over their SWOTs and what they had accomplished and what they were doing and what they were looking forward to in the new year. So we're not doing that this year, obviously for obvious reasons, but I still wanted to kind of look at the exercise and see how we can set ourselves up to better be able to answer these questions for ourselves in 2021, and to set up the board up to be able to move forward and accomplish things that we feel good about. So SWOT, is anybody here familiar with that term?
Yes.
Okay. So as Chris mentioned, it's the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats to the board. So basically, I just want to have a discussion about that. Like, what do we think are the strengths of the board? What do we think will help us accomplish goals? What do we think is going to threaten those accomplishments? Kristen, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I did want to mention, so we're not doing the dinner this year, but we have been asked to still fill out those forms. So instead of just preparing for next year, we should go ahead and do it as best as we can. And those are going to be submitted to council at one of their meetings in January. I'm not sure which one yet, but we could definitely at least start on that this evening. And basically what we do is we just go through each of those areas, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and those threats. And we're looking for 2, 3, no more than 4 items under each one. An example could be, it gets easier because once we have one to go off of, we can build on it every year. But an example that I know a lot of the other boards and commissions have done is, if you're looking at strengths, it might be the diversity of the board. It might be either in backgrounds or different things you have to bring to the table. It might be different experiences that people have. So we can be creative, and if we don't reach 3, that's okay too. But that's just kind of been the target number in the past. And what this does, from putting together these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, is it helps the city council when they take a look at their goal setting. So really, we've done some of this work back in the spring when the board first started meeting and we started thinking about what we want to work on. But on top of those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, we also think of what are the goals this year? Let's put down 2 or 3 goals. What do we really want to focus on? Whether it's the transportation issue, or, you know, this year it might just be getting back into the senior center and getting the senior center opened back up and transitioning from the current meal program to how it's going to be when we're actually in person again. So I think this year's is going to be a little different. We've obviously been really restrictive or restricted in what we could do, and are probably also going to continue to be restricted until, I don't even know when. I don't know, spring, summer, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it's going to change. But anyway, so I think if we could actually get some stuff down on paper, that would be great. And then we can even keep it as a draft, see if people have more comments or thoughts, and approve it at the next meeting, because we'd be able to do that in January and then share it with council.
Okay. So, does anyone want to have any discussion about any of these categories now? Do you want to work on them individually and bring them back at the next meeting? What is your feeling? Should we flesh them out a little bit so people have an idea what direction we're heading in, or what are your thoughts?
I think we should work on it as a group just now rather than putting it on your to-do list, because I know at this time of year it's just going to get lost. So if we can start actually using our time together here not more constructively, but so we're actually, this is what we've got to do. Let's try and get as much of it done today rather than putting it off for another month. That's my suggestion.
And I think it probably is reasonable to have 2 or 3 bullets under each one of these categories. Is that generally about what it averages, you guys? You have done this before?
Yes. Yep.
Now, I was thinking about this a little earlier today when I looked over the agenda, and I think one of our strengths is, and you know, I'm not just doing this to make you feel good about yourselves, but we have really good staff support to get this thing launched. You know, there's a very strong background on, you know, between Kristen and Maya, and having Renee support us. And so I think that should be like a strength that we would want to mention in our list. Okay. I don't know, what do we call that? Just staff support, or
Yeah.
a staff support and expertise, because we rely on you guys a lot, especially for, you know, like contact information and things like that, with resources we need to really understand our role better. I think that's mostly what we focused on this year. Okay, so I'm going to write that down, and then.
Yep. And I'll take notes on this as well, Maya.
Oh, okay, I was going to say I have the document
Okay,
up on my
you have it up.
computer.
That works too. I was going to say along with that, and I think that it's been great that Maya's been able to bring in kind of some different speakers to really help educate us on different topics. I think that would probably go under strengths as well. But I think that, yeah, Maya's done a wonderful job at doing that. And we've been able to really spend the last 6-9 months learning about different programs that are out there that then can also feed into opportunities. But just building that background has been great.
So I would like to add resiliency. I think if anything, COVID has shown that Maya, you and the team are very resilient in being able to get out there and help the community, their seniors in our community. Just the sheer number of meals that are being served, the classes that are still going on virtually. I'm just astounded at the work that you guys have been able to do. So if I could add that for resiliency, for sure.
Thank you. It's a time for resiliency.
A lot of that, or maybe it's I don't. Go ahead.
I think another thing that we should, the fact that we are all with different age groups, and the fact that we've all been able to adopt and pivot the way that we hold the meetings and into like Microsoft Teams. I didn't have a lot of experience in that. So I think we should be, I think that's definitely a strength, that we are open to learn new technologies, because of COVID is going to be here, and whether we have the option, maybe that, like further down the line, an opportunity could be, do we have a hybrid for meetings where we have some in person and some coming in using technology?
Yes, I like that idea for the future as well. Okay, so I got 4 bullets out of just that brief discussion. Is there anything else anybody wants to bring under this? For the time being, of course, we're going to leave the options open that anytime between now and the next meeting that you want to suggest something, they can send it in, right, Maya? Am I okay to do that for you guys?
Yeah.
Volunteer you for more information. So we'll go down to weaknesses. Of course, the first one, COVID, has really created an obstacle for everybody. So, and so mine is.
I think one of the things that's coming through, certainly I've experienced with working with the seniors, is the barriers presented by technology, people's lack of willingness to use it, people not having access to technology, and people still believing that things will go back to normal.
I would agree. That definitely makes the work that we're trying to do a little bit more difficult to accomplish.
It is. I know a lot of people just don't have the financial resources to create that kind of access from their homes, and then other people are just not able to grasp it. You reach a certain age, and some new concepts are just too hard to pick up.
I think another weakness, I don't know if this would be a weakness or a threat, is the growing isolation, lack of community, depression and suicide within the senior community.
You think that that does kind of stop people from reaching out as much?
And I think that's definitely a threat as well,
right,
to just the general service of the population. Yeah.
So I'm going to jump down to threats and just put overall mental health of the community. If that's okay. Stop me anytime.
So
Okay.
maybe not as much now, but I know transportation was a weakness, definitely before COVID, just in getting people to the center to participate in the programs. And I know that's something this group has talked about quite a bit. So even though it hasn't really applied lately, I guess it's still an issue getting people to appointments. There's still a transportation need that's out there, even though the facility itself isn't open.
Mm-hmm.
A huge need for that. Yeah. A huge need for transportation to medical appointments, grocery stores, eyeglasses appointments.
In Sherwood, we have that big of a need for that, huh?
We do, yeah.
That surprises me. Okay, and then opportunities. I'll tell you one opportunity I would like to take advantage of in 2021 that I haven't is, and this is just a personal opportunity I see, and maybe the other members of the committee the advisory board are way ahead of me on this, but my goal is to attend several of the different activities in the senior center when it reopens that I didn't participate in before, to have a feel for what my peer group is doing at the senior center and what they're getting the most out of, what they enjoy the most, which I don't have a feel for now because I haven't really been in there on participating in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to see people more aware of what we're doing for the seniors at the YMCA as well.
Okay.
And if I may, if there's a way to get a feel for, I think the opportunity exists to reach beyond the senior center. And so, because I mean, the intent of the committee is to be an advocate for seniors in the community in general, with the Y, in other entities as well. So I think the opportunity exists to really promote that more. And then I think in the long term, it will mean that there's more seniors maybe attending some of the activities at the senior center. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's twofold. Maybe there's partnership opportunities with other organizations, such as the Y or other established organizations, but then just also outreach to other seniors that may not be tied to organizations within the community to make sure we're still serving them as well.
Well
Correct?
said, Kristen.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we talked about that at a meeting when we were still meeting in person. We had a kind of a long discussion about that because the question that came up was, how were we going to go about that? And people had several different ideas, and we were going to look into other agencies that reached out in other areas and ask them what they had found to be the most successful method or avenue to reach those people that, the more homebound.
And
And
that's
if I may say one more thing, I like to be silent during these things, but I'm also an advocate for youth, the bridging the gap between our youth and our seniors. As more and more of, I look at World War II veterans and some of that history that's going away. We need to figure out a way to bridge that gap so that historical factor can live through our kids. Does that make sense? So really figuring out a way to build more programming and opportunities to bridge the gap.
So that's, I think I've been talking about like intergenerational events. How can we encourage that within the Sherwood and between the schools and the senior centre? What projects can be worked on? So that could be an opportunity. That's definitely an opportunity.
Yeah.
I was going to say that an opportunity that this new hybrid model does present, the use of technology, Zoom, calling into activities and appointments for seniors in our community has really broadened the reach of who we work with at the senior center. About half of the people on our meal program now are new to the center based on a new need that they have recognized, and they've been interacting through call-in programs where they haven't come into the center and been able to come into the center in the past. So I think that's definitely an opportunity to kind of expand that reach as well.
Okay. And we said we were down to on threats. We said the general mental health of the community. Are there any other threats that you see? I have a hard time between weaknesses and threats because they seem to me a lot of times they overlap or they're,
That tends to be the case in any business analysis, is that your weaknesses, like your strength and your opportunities work hand in hand, and then your weaknesses and your threats, they are partners for each other.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely the lack of technology has been a threat of access to technology.
We might want to think about at some future point, maybe contacting some companies like Geek Squad that provide technology services and see if they're willing to donate a given number of hours to our community, to help people get set up or whatever.
So Maya, I know this is, you want to, I think that it's completely appropriate to have this under a weakness or a threat because it's going to continue to be one. But do you want to just tell people a little bit about some of the different programs and thoughts that we're having about the devices and what we're hoping to do in the future, just so people know that we're working on it?
Sure. So we're working on a program right now with the Grand Pads company. They're coming out with a new device called the Easy Pad in the new year. And through grant support, we're looking to purchase several of these devices to be able to give out to senior community members to use. We have 2 volunteers set in place to help people learn how to use them, train them, troubleshoot, so on and so forth, and go through and teach them how to use the various programs, set up Zoom, go through how to use Zoom and other programs that they'd like to use on those devices.
That's great.
So,
Yeah.
I went to one
Oh,
for-
that's a fantastic idea.
I was saving that for new, but it does.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I've seen the grandpads advertised in the AARP magazine, and they look pretty user friendly. I know I went to a user class for cell phones about 1,000 years ago that AARP sponsored, and they're really cool classes. And even if you walk in thinking you know a lot about it, which I thought I know more than my girlfriends. Anyway, my son laughs because I always tell him all my girlfriends I'm the most technological, savvy, and he goes, "Well, that's really too bad." But anyway, those courses that AARP does are really, really terrific. So if we could do something like that for the grandparents, I'd go just to watch it to see how they're using them.
Yeah, we're looking forward to be able to have classes broadcast from the center as well, on the different technologies, and also classes on how to do telehealth appointments with the various providers as well, because that is an important thing that's missing right now.
And extremely frustrating because theirs don't work well either.
Yeah. I know, it's on both sides. And then also Washington County right now has some grant money available for people who need devices and technology right now that can help them get set up with laptops and so forth. So
That's perfect.
if you know of anybody who is actively engaged with wanting to learn that and try that device, please call me. I'm happy to get them connected.
Great, thank you. Okay, does everybody feel comfortable that we've kind of fleshed this out for now? Where do we want to go from here? Do we want to bring it back in our next meeting and look at it in one piece and see how much time do we have to play with this before we need to have it for council, I guess? Are we going to get an opportunity for another meeting or?
Yeah, so we're really, they haven't selected a date yet, but we were looking at middle of January-ish. So I think that we could safely bring it back to the next meeting, and we could put it on a document so you can see everything all in one place as a draft, and see if there's anything else that you want to add or tweak, and approve it, and then we can forward it on to council.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kristen. Now I'm going to move on to the council updates. And Renee, we really appreciate that you contribute, I'm sorry, you're going to stop me?
Well, we're not quite done with this exercise yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. We just have the 2 or 3 accomplishments from this last year that we want to talk about, and then what are 2 or 3 goals for this next year that we'd like to accomplish.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, accomplishments. Let me flip my page over.
But I am still glad that Renee is here.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I just wanted to thank her.
Not to take away from that.
Renee said I don't want to talk that much, and I said I hope we never get to where we're such a stuffy little format that everybody can't just have a conversation, because I think that's what's really appealing about this board.
Yeah.
I just like I like to listen. So, but thank you. I appreciate the kindness.
Okay, so mine, you said accomplishments, and I'm sorry, what was the other?
Goals.
Goals.
Goals was the other one. 1 or 2 accomplishments and 1 or 2 goals.
I think one of our accomplishments was actually coming up with our mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I'd also posit that an accomplishment of this year was the increase in awareness and knowledge of different programs and needs in our community.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Well, I think we've all adapted pretty well to technology, getting on Zoom and getting everything set up and being able to continue with the meetings with this internet connection. So far, everybody's done really well with that.
I was curious, have we lost anybody since we went to this format who hasn't participated in any of these meetings since we went to this format? Have you noticed that, or of our membership?
Yeah, there has been a small percentage that hasn't made it to a meeting yet since we've switched to this format.
Okay. just going to say they could watch here with me, but the whole idea of this is so we're not next to each other. So would they have an opportunity maybe to get one of the grandpads early on to get back in the loop on this, or?
That's a possibility. We've also added the call-in option to this meeting, so people who don't have the access to Teams can just call on their telephone and participate vocally.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what did we want to do for goals in 2021? Gosh, that's only about 2 days away or something. Wow.
It's amazing.
Well, I think our goal is, and I don't want to say this, to get our life back as a board, meeting in person, to get back to normal, I guess. Are we even using that word anymore? But
I think COVID's going to potentially change everything. So I think that we should be considering a hybrid model for like in 2021, because there's still going to be some people who will not be comfortable coming to a meeting. So whether they come in via the virtual world or whether it's just calling in.
Yeah, I like that, Kaz. Because I agree with you. And there may be times, just say, for instance, there's a big ice storm in January or something, that we can just pretty quickly shift to this format.
Yeah.
Even if our intention was to
That's
be.
a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, no more snow days, guys.
And then since we're talking about maybe looking at maybe in 2021 is like, how can we encourage some sort of a intergenerational event? If we were to can we host an event? Can we be a facilitator for an event in 2021 between the two generations?
And another, what I was thinking when you said intergenerational event, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to kind of have a dance where you had representation of each decade's dances, like from ballroom to rock and roll to swing or whatever, and then to hip hop. I mean, that would be kind of a fun thing to see and do.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
You're signed up, Kaz.
and then, Kristen, you brought up transportation quite a bit. Maybe we should make a goal to formulate some sort of basic transportation support program of some sort, even on a really small scale, just to get something rolling.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's something that we've heard for the last couple of years as a need, and has really only increased. Again, the change being, instead of trying to get people to the center, it's been getting people to appointments and what we can do there.
Is there I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Renee.
Say maybe consider writing a grant with the community enhancement grants to purchase a van for the senior center. Maybe involve the Friends of the Senior Center in writing that grant or something similar to that.
I like that idea because
I like that. Yes.
When I was growing up in our community, no, you can talk. I can't tell whether you're stopping or not. I think you're a little bit of a delay on my screen, so I don't mean to talk over you. I just was relating that when I was growing up in Reno, they didn't have a bus system at all, a public bus system, but they did have like a half a dozen privately owned vans that stayed kind of within their own neighborhoods, which for Sherwood is not a big deal because you can drive from one end of it to the other in 10 minutes, at least now. And so we paid like $0.25, and you just got on it when it came through your neighborhood, and you rode till it got to where you wanted to get off, and it ran like 6 hours a day. It wasn't like a 24-hour thing, but if people knew that they had this little van available from, say, for instance, 10 to 4, they could schedule their doctor and dental appointments in that window, whatever that window is, and then they'd have that opportunity. So I'm way ahead of myself here, but that's why when Renee said van, I thought van's perfect because I'm familiar with that, and I've seen it work.
Yeah, very happy to support and help that plan.
The hint that you're gonna write the grant request. I'll help you if you want.
So,
yes,
has that come up at all in the Friends of the Senior Center? Have they talked about that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
all the time.
Good. Because they would be the ones to be able to write it successfully and
Oh, good.
have it passed.
Okay, so that's kind of three big things for goals next year, which I really like, which was, if I'm looking at my notes right, a hybrid model for meetings, some sort of intergenerational event. That was a really great idea, Jazz, and some new transportation offering.
Maya,
Those
can
are
you
big
think of
things.
anything else that we should be thinking about kind of as we hopefully come out of our current program model with COVID and how we're doing meals right now and just how that transition is going to work? Is there, I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's any other goals that you see us needing to put in place or would be helpful in
Maybe
2021.
Post-COVID, we always get back to surveys, and then we always get back to how do we get that to the right people, and
Right.
we haven't solved that problem yet. And so I don't know if we're putting the cart before the horse, or I just don't know. I agree with what you're saying. I just don't know how we get there.
Yeah, well, and I guess what I'm thinking of specifically is the meal program. Maya can speak more to it, but obviously there's been a lot of a change in the focus, and so much of it has been on feeding people, which has been really good and really important. But the number of people that are receiving meals now, and just what are we going to do when we are back in person? Are we going to be able to continue to service those people and almost develop our own Meals on Wheels type of program outside of servicing people in the dining hall? Or, I don't see Dominic being able to necessarily cook for both, or maybe we do. I don't know. Do we change how we do food moving forward? And maybe we don't need to figure that out now. I'm just wondering if you've thought about that. But when I hear how many people you guys are, I mean, you basically have doubled your numbers, it feels like.
We have, yeah. And I think that's where the need would be, is that when we start being able to come out of this, whatever that looks like, and kind of move forward, is some sort of touching base with people to find out where they're at and what they're interested in. Through the survey that we have been doing over the last couple of months, it hasn't had a huge participation, despite it being in the newspaper as call the center to participate in the survey. Most people still think it's just an online survey. We've only had 47 responses to that, but wholeheartedly, I think there was only one response that I got that wasn't, as soon as the center is open again, we're coming. There was only one person so far that has responded that they're going to be extra cautious in their return to the center and perhaps wait a little longer. But like I said, that's not touching everybody. It's not touching everybody, even on our meal program. So looking into what the needs are when we get there, and the comfort level and the ability level when we get there, is going to be something that we'll need to do. And a part of that is the transportation, is what kind of transportation people will be able to utilize when we're open and when things are moving around again. So some people are homebound because they can't drive. If there's a transportation plan in place, will they be able to come to the meals instead of the meals going to them, and then enjoying, that social aspect as well.
Yes, and that might make it a lot easier to do if there's a van available to pick people up.
It'd be a huge deal. Yeah, it would be monumental.
After a 15-pack, you could get quite a few people back and forth.
Oh yeah. And
how about a carpooling thing where people partner up with people and just do carpooling? Maybe have something like that they could sign up for, and like a buddy system.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, some people might do that. I like the van idea as a priority, and then the carpool as a supplement to it for the time being. And a lot of that is because some people like me, you wouldn't know what to look at me. I look so great healthy, but I'm disabled, and there's days when I'm completely down. So if I volunteer to do that, there might be a lot of days when I wouldn't be able to pick anybody up. And I think that a lot of people our age are kind of in that same boat, So the van would be more reliable, but maybe we could set it up so that we have carpool and then carpool too. What I mean?
Yeah, and a van that could, take people outside of perhaps the Sherwood area so that, more life experiences and fun can be had, I think would be a lovely idea as well. So no, I love that idea for us.
Good. Okay, so if I ask Renee now if she wants to talk to us about council updates, am I going to get there, Maya?
Yeah.
We're moving on to item 6.
All right. So my dog's in the background too with her toys. So if you hear squeaking, that's what you hear. So as far as updates is concerned, we as a council are reviewing some of our ordinances, which isn't necessarily the most exciting part of council, but it's something that needs to be done. There's a lot of development going on, so you might see some. Somebody's having a shaking head. Yep. So lots of development going on. The election is over, obviously, so there's going to be a swearing-in ceremony. The first meeting in January for 3 of us that were reelected. So that's exciting. We'll be going over council rules. That's something that we do annually. We should be having a retreat sometime soon where we go over what we feel is important as a council for the community and come up with council goals. Let's see what else is going on. Chickens are going to be a topic of conversation coming up in January. We're going to have a work session on that. Let's see. Code, we're talking about our sign code and whether or not we want to make some changes to that. We've held off on that mainly because of the implication that it will have on our businesses. We don't want to provide any more hardship on our businesses than what they already have. I think as a city, we've done a great job of trying to support our local businesses with some of the funding mechanisms. I encourage you the best that you can. If you can support our local businesses, please do so. They're the lifeblood of our community. Other than that, that's about all I have, unless you have questions for me.
I want to talk about chickens, but I'm not going to do it in this format. So I will be sending the council an email about that.
Excellent. Please do. Please do.
I'm sure you'll appreciate another input.
It's interesting.
I actually was like, did I hear that correct? They're having a council meeting on chickens.
Yeah, it's funny because it was a topic of conversation when I was on council the first time, and there was a lot of upheaval about it, and we decided as a council based off of feedback from the community that no, we weren't going to change the ordinance. And now it's revisited, and actually it started because of a young lady. She's like 12 years old, and she wanted to have chickens, and she lives in the city limits, and her dad did some investigation and realized that it's pretty high fee to get chickens in the city. I think it's like $3,000. I could be off on that. It's high. And so they approached council with a letter, and then it started. More and more people were saying, yes, we would like to have chickens in the city limits, and then we started getting the opposing sides. So yes, we're going to have a conversation on chickens. It should be lively.
It's a subject that just won't go away. I think this is actually the 3rd time it's been before council. But
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Donna, you've been awful quiet today. Anything you want to tell us?
I'm just sitting here trying to think about chickens. I like to see chickens around the neighborhood. Why would anyone oppose chickens? Because I don't know why anybody would oppose chickens.
Oh, I do.
There's
many
reasons. I mean, sometimes it draws what we hear most of it draws rats or mice. That's the biggest thing. Then there's the fear that there be roosters involved and that it'll be noisy. Those are the two biggest pieces of feedback that we get.
Well, how do chickens draw rats?
They're the chicken feed, and if people don't keep the coop area clean, they come in. And there is a rat problem in Sherwood, not in my neighborhood, thank God. And that's why I'm kind of personally opposed to the chicken idea, because Another thing is, I did have a neighbor behind me that had chickens a couple years ago. I don't know if they had them legally, if they paid all the fees or not, but they're noisy. When you're on your patio in the afternoon, they make a lot of noise. So
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the
like, that was
rooster,
my-
I wouldn't want the rooster.
yeah,
Chickens, like, I don't know, I wouldn't mind them. But yeah, you're right. We do have a bad rat problem in Sherwood.
I
Our
think,
board meeting for the homeowners association was addressing that
mhm.
rat problem that we're having.
Well, I understand that a lot of them came up out of the ground when PGE started plowing over there, and you know, they were having a nice life living in the field, and then they had to go somewhere, so they started coming down the street. Well, look at all those nice restaurants and food establishments right there for them to go digging around in. And
I know.
so yeah, it's an interesting issue that just keeps coming back.
Yeah, I just had a hard week, so that's why I'm being so quiet. It's open enrollment for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have to worry about that because I'm a veteran, but I know that's a lot of work. You're talking about the Medicare thing? And
Yeah, an individual.
insurance?
I do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm all day long. I start really early and I don't end till like 7 in the evening.
Wow.
Enrolling people.
You're tougher than
So
I am.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, just not very talkative. I'm just listening.
But does anybody else want to share anything? Any updates in their lives? Anything exciting going on? Okay.
Exciting?
I could do a whole hour on books I've read, but that was
I found a new show.
Come to our book club.
Yeah.
Or to our Wednesday coffee and chat. We talk a lot about books there.
Oh, do you? That'd be great, because I'm kind of dropping out of mine because they're getting too gloomy. They keep picking depressing books.
Oh.
I actually filmed a couple of Tai Chi DVDs, and the Tai Chi for Women will be getting released and will be available on Amazon over the next few weeks.
That's
There you go.
What will it be under? Do you know what name it will be under?
It will be through it's called Tai Chi for Women, and it's produced by the YMAA, as in Apple. There's also going to be one for back pain, and then another one as well. So there's 3 getting released. I'm on 2, but I'm on the cover of the women one.
Mhm.
And I actually teach part of that one in my Scottish accent, so I'm excited
I love
about
your
that.
Scottish accent. We won't do the workout. We'll just buy to listen to you.
I know. She's pleasant to listen to.
Thank you.
Okay, so well, what else is on here? I got all distracted visiting and
We're still in new, I think. Or other.
okay, other, yes. I guess we were doing other. Is there any more other?
Well, just an update from the center. As we've kind of mentioned, we've had a higher number than we've ever had before in meals served for the last 2 months, by quite a bit. Last month was almost 150 more than we've done the prior months, the prior years of that month, I should say. And part of what we're doing is we're also trying to spread holiday cheer and festiveness. So each week there's various things going out in the meal bag. So this week, poinsettias, life poinsettias, we're going out with all the meals. We've got Christmas ornaments. We have bell necklaces. We have drawings by children going out. We have painted rocks that will be going out to each person. There's a program that Jamie's doing at the library where her teen group will be writing letters to all the seniors in the program, just short little missives. And then we're also doing a gift giving tree for the seniors. So this past week, little cards went out in the lunch boxes asking everybody what they would like for Christmas. And at the end of this week, I'll be uploading those to a website where people can click, see the items requested, and then click to commit to buying those, and then bringing those to the center by the end of next week. I believe that's the 18th, is that Friday. And then our friends group will be wrapping those after they sit for 3 days in quarantine, and we'll be delivering them the following week. So pretty excited about that little project.
Great, we'll look for that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's something that wafted through my brain as I was saying that, and it just continued right on out.
Okay, everybody hum for 30 seconds.
That's my brain.
But if anybody knows of a senior that is not on our meal program but would still like to participate and receive a gift, go ahead and give me a call because we're still happy to get those presents out. And
Great.
we have a visitation from Santa on the 24th that will be handing out candy canes and delivering meals, so that'll be pretty fun too.
Nice.
So from the YMCA, we are still continuing to offer all of our fitness classes